What's up, dads? Welcome to another episode of DadSignal. I'm your host, Doug Wilson. I hope your lawn is mowed. Hope your trash is taken out. Hope the house is cleaned up. And I hope you watched the Masters over this past week. I'm excited for our episode this week. We trying something new, little bit of a new format, which I'm excited to get into. I think the timing of it is perfect because we'll just get into it. I feel like we'll just kick it off with the week. Bit of a rougher week this week, more work focused, and so not a lot of highlights. A lot of like head down, getting stuff done. That's part of why I'm excited about the new format that we're going to be trying out today. Just talking through some advice that some dads are looking for, and from what I've read through, I feel like it resonates so closely to home for me. So I think reading through it and then just being able to talk through it, I know it should be relatable, or you might find some common trends in there, maybe some advice that you can apply for yourself. But let's get into the week. Yeah, just really a lot of waking up early, going into the office, getting a bunch of stuff done. I feel like I've been struggling with balancing the different plates or different levers of life with like work and then being present as a dad, being, there as a husband, right? My own passions and hobbies and stuff like that, wanting to start a business. There's just so many different like areas that I want to focus on, and knowing when to spend time on this one versus the other, and if I'm spending too much time here, then all these other areas are suffering, like my own health, or making sure I'm eating healthy and getting rest, all of those things. So feels like so many different things to focus on. And this past week has been like, I need to ramp up the work lever, to make sure that I'm not falling behind, or just to keep that same level of expectation that I obviously have for myself. I hold myself to a high standard. So yeah, I just want to follow through, have integrity, all those good things, be an example. I would love to be able to show my kids that, like, even though I don't want to do it necessarily, I still get up and go, obviously, because it's how I get paid. But also because it's a commitment, and we got to be disciplined and all of that fun jazz. So that's been my week. I will share that my win was the Masters tournament over the past week. Rory McIlroy, congratulations, got his back-to-back Masters championships. Last year, completing the Grand Slam and then just going back to back, the fourth pro golfer in history to do something like that. So a pretty good accomplishment. But the win, that's one thing. The win is that Luca, my son, pretty much watched almost all of it with me, and wanted to watch it, and was just like pretending to do his like little golf swing and stuff like that. I was like, bro, what? This is so great. Can't wait to like go play golf with him and stuff like that. But he's hitting a stride right now. I feel like maybe 2 episodes ago, the first episode or something like that, I was talking about how Luca right now is the one that I'm like butting heads with the most, because he's 4 and he turned 4 in December. So he's like right in the middle of that transition. And he's just, testing his boundaries, testing his limits, seeing what he can get away with. Man, just really, I mean, it's cool to see him coming out of his shell like that, but it's also like, bro, take this personality down a little bit, because I don't know who you think you're talking to, and like even that is like he feels comfortable enough to express himself and all of that, which is great, but it's also like you need to just listen. And so sometimes butting heads with him, I'm like, what am I trying to actually teach? Is this me trying to teach a lesson, or is this just like a power struggle right now where I'm trying to gain control? But lately he's been really like helping out and wanting to do more things like help cook and like help clean up and bring in the groceries and stuff like that, which has been, I mean, really awesome to see. And even, coming home from work, um, he's like super excited to play and stuff, but he also knows how to like keep it calm because he knows I'm just getting home. And today was wild. He was like going nuts, but in the best way, and he's excited. So maybe the other win is just like I think I talked about this last week too, but just mindset a little bit and realizing that like, hey, as difficult as these different things get with life and work, and juggling all these different things, like that's not their fault. And they still need present parents. They still need a present dad there. So knowing what your priorities are and just knowing like, hey, regardless of whatever's going on, this period of time when I get home until bedtime, basically, the priority is, being there for the kids, taking the pressure off of my wife, and letting her just kind of relax because she's been with them all day. And Shiloh's obviously doing his thing, being a menace. He's 18 months old, so he's really just figuring out that he can do some things, swinging on people and just being crazy. But I love it. It's all great. So all wins, all great wins. Avery was here for a little bit. She's coming tomorrow too, so that'll be fun. She'll be here for like 4 sleeps, I think, which is great. And she is my 7-year-old oldest. So it'll be cool having everyone all together. They all love playing with each other and having a good time. So that's something to look forward to. A win that is just bound to happen. So I'll call that out too. Speaking of, I think my loss, area of opportunity, whatever you want to call it, uh, is maybe that like dedicated time with each kid. So, um, I feel like it's valuable or it's important to try to have like one-on-one time with each of your kids. And my daughter and I used to do our like daddy-daughter dates, and we'd go and get pizza or go to a restaurant, maybe get ice cream, go to an arcade, maybe something like that, and just like rotate different things that we would do. But lately, I mean, she's been coming over like a ton, which is great. So we've been seeing each other more, and she's been, spending time here more in her, she has her own room here and stuff like that. But we haven't been having a lot of like one-on-one time. And same thing for me and Luca. Same thing for me and Shiloh. So I think my main one is like needing to get that like daddy-daughter date thing going again because um, just as a girl dad, I think just having that relationship, and starting that from a young age to where you have that close connection when she gets older, and she can trust you and share what's happening and going on in her life. That's one thing that I'm like, I don't want her to grow up and feel like she can't talk to me about things going on in her life because she doesn't feel like we have that close connection. Um, so yeah, I definitely want to do daddy daughter dates again. If you are a girl dad and that's something that you used to do and kind of fell off from it, it's time to jump back on the wagon, and think about maybe talk with her, right? And come to like a agreement. What are some cool things you'd want to do? I'll do the same thing with Luca so we can have like our own thing and just get some structure, some rhythm maybe. That could be helpful if things are starting to feel uh like they're droning on and on. The days are just repeating and you're kind of in a funk maybe. That's where I feel like I've been saying like same thing every day and needing some newness, some novelty or something like that. Maybe switch up the structure and add some cool one-on-one things to do. Maybe set up some one-on-one time for you and the missus, so you can reconnect and date each other again. That's always a plus, a win. So that's I'll call it area of opportunity. I won't call it a loss because I mean, it's fair. It's fair. But yeah, we actually kind of blew through those things a lot quicker than I thought that we would, which is great because I kind of want to get into uh, the main area of the day, which usually we do like a topic, development topic, like we did like core values and culture setting, or being emotional intelligence from the perspective of a dad. But in me trying to figure out what I even wanted to talk about this week, I went looking through like different Reddit threads and things like that, trying to get kind of inspiration on like, oh, what area should we talk about and should we focus on this week? And saw a lot of advice, or a lot of dads asking for advice and looking for people to relate to what they're experiencing and what they're going through. So I found three different ones that I thought would be cool to read, and then give my perspective, maybe think about your perspective. Love comments, love anything that anyone wants to share. You can comment and we can get a conversation going. But the first one really hit home for me. The subject of it is the mental load of being the provider plus handyman plus present dad is becoming crushing. And that's kind of exactly what I was just talking about earlier. That it feels like juggling all these different things just can feel exhausting, and I don't know which one to focus on, and if I'm doing the right thing or if I'm doing enough in a certain area. But he says, I work a high pressure commercial job. I spend 40 to 50 hours a week negotiating, selling, and being on just to make sure the bills are paid and the family is secure. But the second shift at home is what's killing me lately. I walk through the door and immediately pivot to fixing things around the house, handling the daily maintenance, and trying to be a present, patient father for my 10-year-old. Then there's the expectation to be the supportive husband, even when I feel like my own cup is bone dry. Yeah. Yeah. The hardest part isn't even the work itself. It's the feeling of being undervalued. It feels like I'm just a series of functions that can be performed. Did you fix this? Did you pay that? Can you handle the kid? I love my family more than anything, but man, I'm exhausted. I'm tired of being the pillar that everyone leans on, but no one seems to check if the pillar itself is cracking. Does anyone else feel like they've just become a utility in their own home? How do you keep going when you're this burnt out? Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's uh, pretty much exactly how I have been feeling, in some ways. And, I think just like the constant go, 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 go. And really it doesn't really feel like anyone's checking on you. And but you're thinking of like everyone else's best interests, but no one's thinking of your own best interests, you feel like. Um, And so yeah, that gets taxing, and that's probably one of the more like dangerous things, mindsets that we can get stuck in, or that I get stuck in, um, is starting to tell myself all these things that I'm juggling all these things and doing all of this stuff, um, and I'm not getting anything in return necessarily. And what I notice is when I start thinking like that is usually when communication becomes like the most important and like critical thing to happen, in just sharing like, hey, I'm kind of at my limit. Um, how can we kind of balance what's going on here? Because I feel like, taking on a lot and I'm not getting any time for myself. I need to prioritize like having my own space, or even if it's just like an hour here and there. And just coming to a decision together on something like that, because usually I will just convince myself that uh, I don't get to have that time, and that me time or whatever, it just isn't important enough, uh, compared to everything else that has to happen. But in reality, if I express it and say like, hey, I'm feeling a little burnt out, it would be really nice if I could have an hour to just like go chill out, or like go out and get a drink or something like that. I don't know. I have that conversation, and it's almost like, yeah, what, why do you don't really need to ask, and just let me know that you're going. And I know that's not the experience with everybody, but what we tend to do, and what we, need to try, or what I need to try to avoid, is not even asking, and then that resentment just building and building and building to where you your cup is empty. You're like, I have nothing else to give. And then it can spiral out of control from there. So, yeah, definitely have been there. And I think that's where communication just becomes critical, that it's like, if we're at this point, then we haven't been communicating, and we don't have an established like structure on how all of this can stay balanced, and there be just enough to where every cup is getting something, right? And not just, me dumping everything out and then not getting anything back. It's, definitely a common thing to get to that place because of just how life is. But that's where the intention comes in, and maybe having like a community of people that you can lean on. Sometimes the things that we deal with as dads are very unique to us as dads, and as guys. So, having somebody that you can like just reach out to, a buddy or something like that, and just to check in with. Sometimes that helps, right? Where it's like, I'm not getting anything back, but at least I feel recognized or appreciated or valued in some way. I think one of the biggest things for guys is just to feel like they're respected. And that, can feel like, well, I shouldn't have to ask for that. But sometimes that's what it takes, like where we just have to talk through it and express what we need and come to an agreement and an expectation on what that looks like. So I hope that helps. I say that. I don't know that I always follow through on that, but I hope that helps if that's something that you've been struggling with. This next one is also um, just spot on. Not exactly everything that he's going through, but the subject of it, stress and anxiety. Welcome. My two buddies, my two best friends, stress and anxiety. And this one's newborns. So he says, I've got a lot going through my mind right now. I, 27, and my girlfriend, 25, have a 5.5-month-old. And to be honest, I'm so lost. For context, I'm struggling so hard for money right now, despite working 50 plus hours a week. Yeah, that definitely resonates. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have pets that will be nearing the end by the time our daughter starts gaining near full autonomy of emotions. How do I even begin to tackle this? I've had pets pass away in my early youth, but I didn't have religious parents nor spiritually inclined parents that gave the whole he went to greener pasture-esque spiels. Also, I myself have alcoholic parents, and though I love them to death despite their faults, how am I supposed to educate my daughter on how to calibrate her own internal feelings on that whole front? Finally, circling back around to the financial issues, I've considered joining the Canadian Armed Forces for better pay and benefits. It's something I've considered for a long time, a decade plus, and I just don't know if it's the right call for my daughter to have emotional stability. Yep. Are there any fathers here that have gone through any of the above listed? Am I overthinking things? Am I underthinking things? Please, for the love of God, send any advice you have. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot to try to download and digest and try to figure out. Um, what I would say, if your daughter is 5.5 months old, um, I would focus on one day at a time. Just stick with today, because those things, it's like that circle of influence, the things you can control. Focus on the things you can control, and don't try to spend too much time trying to figure out things that you don't really have any control over or influence over right now. Um, One of those things, both of those things being how she's going to like emotionally process um, what your parents are going through, and how she's going to process like your pets when your pets pass away. Um, there's a lot to learn between now and then. So, yeah, that I wouldn't put too much pressure on trying to figure that out right now. And a really good lesson too, just for myself and obviously anybody, is just like the thinking about and stressing about things that I can't really solve. Like I'm not going to be able to find a solution for that right now. So why am I spending so much time thinking about it when I could be just taking one action, like the one next step, to try to get myself closer to wherever I'm trying to go. Um, yeah. So it puts it in perspective. As I'm reading that, I'm like, these are like obviously really important and heavy matters. So it's hard to just say like, I'm not going to worry about that right now. But being able to come to a place where you have faith that like these are things that will be handled. We'll figure these things out when the time comes to figure them out. They are important, and when it comes time to navigate that, I will know what to do. For now, I'm gonna focus on what I need to do for this 5.5 month old baby, and take it one day at a time. Yeah, that's probably the way I would go about that for sure. This last one, I think is just really, really applicable for anybody that is a new dad or is going to be a new dad pretty soon. It's first time dad asking for advice. What's up, fellow dads? Wife is 10 weeks pregnant, and I'd appreciate any piece of advice you'd like to spare. We're obviously following medical instructions and reading a bunch about pregnancy and such, but I guess there's some more dad mom stuff that isn't in literature and would help any first timer be on top of stuff. Um, yeah, so love that. And I had to jot a couple things down to make sure I didn't forget. But the first thing I would say is congratulations. And so anybody that's going to be a first time dad, maybe you are a first time dad or you're about to be a first time dad, the biggest piece of advice that I could offer, from my own experience, and is to be the almost like the emotional anchor in your home especially during that time, the newborn phase, and in the postpartum phase for your wife. There, a lot is going to be put on your shoulders, and in that moment is really important that you're not taking things personally, and that you know that your role is going to be to like roll up your sleeves and just get in the trenches and make sure everything is ready to go. Bottles are washed, hanging on the drying rack, ready everything. The pump stuff for the breast pump are cleaned and set up and ready. You're changing diapers. You're not you're not pretending to sleep in the middle of the night when you hear the baby crying. You're getting up and saying, I got it. And I know this is crazy. This is already like, what kind of advice is this? When your wife has to wake up if she's breastfeeding and has to wake up in the middle of the night to breastfeed, yeah, wake up, be up with her. Those are the kinds of things that she's gonna need from you. Um, and from my experience, like a lot of the times I would almost feel like useless because like, the baby doesn't want me. It wants her because it wants milk, and wants the connection when babies are first born that they have with the mom is just so intense, that a lot of the times the most that you can do is just like kind of pick her up and hand her to her, like make sure you're doing everything else, because your wife's gonna feel touched out. She's gonna feel in pain, obviously, emotionally. There's gonna be a lot of things going on. So being the steady one, the emotional anchor, is going to be like crucial, super critical in that time. So just preparing from now, if you're not already a dad and you have a baby on the way, just preparing from now to the resilience, and the reminder that like this is a phase. This isn't something that's going to last forever. It's just, part of the role that you play as the dad and the husband is, I need to lock it in and dial in and focus, and be there for my wife and be there for my baby. And it pays off because then it flips, and then you start to be the one that the baby is like, ooh, all the attention from daddy. Dad is a lot easier to say too, for those little babes. So you get your payment, but don't worry. But for that period of time is just really being intentional to not take things personal, not build a resentment like we were talking about before, just like communicating and being really open about how things are going, and checking in with each other, being each other's support system, but really making sure that you're the place that your wife and your baby, your family can come to, for like the reassurance that like everything's everything's okay. As long as you're good, then everyone's good, and that can feel like a lot of pressure. So the other thing that I would say, other advice, is to try to find and establish some kind of community, some sort of wherever, if be it Reddit or whatever it is, just joining a community of dads, a Facebook group or something like that. Um, I'm actually starting a community, which is really exciting to just kind of randomly drop in here and share. But you can join the DadSignal community. The link will be in the description of the video below. But a really, really exciting and fun thing, because we'll be able to get together there. We can go live and kind of have like Q&A discussions and back and forth, and give advice, as a fatherhood coach, and be able to help out, and just share pictures of the kids and talk about wins and grilling out and all the other cool things, and just have like-minded people around you that are intentional and really wanting to accomplish the same thing of being more present and focused dads. So you have that option, but there's other options out there too, of course. And just checking in with your friends, making sure it's going to be really tough in that first newborn stage to try to have like time for your own thing. So being able to lean on the support system around you. If you have guys that you can kind of meet up with online, play some video games or something when the baby's sleeping. I know they say sleep when the baby sleeps. That's really just not too realistic. The sleep training is important for sure. Definitely prioritize some sleep training, but I am also an advocate of co-sleeping. I will say that, which is maybe a little bit more of a hot take or something like that. But I just like having the chance to snuggle with my kids while they're young, because I know at some point they're not going to want to do that. So before that time comes, I'm gonna get my snuggles. I like my snuggles. And then finally, and this might be shamelessly plugging a little bit, but getting a coach. That is the one piece of advice that I don't think I've ever seen shared anywhere. But getting a coach, getting a fatherhood coach, is probably, I mean, I could say that all of these are the most important things, but the most underutilized resource maybe, in being an intentional dad, and like navigating these areas of fatherhood and new dadhood. There's just so much that you could get from having basically like a mentor, an accountability partner, someone to check in with, someone to just kind of ask it for guidance and feedback and advice. At whatever cadence, or right, whatever makes sense for you. So I think that's like a heavily slept on resource. And guess what? I'm a coach, right? So if you're loving the vibe, then you can definitely sign up. The link is in the description below too. You can actually set up a free call for like 30 minutes. We'll get together and just talk through, what are you trying to focus on? What goals are you trying to accomplish? And if that's something that interests you, then we can, set up more coaching from there, and get something going. But, that is my area of passion and what I love to do. So, again, like, just to plug it one more time, if you're about to become a dad, or you're a first time dad, or you are just a long time dad that you're like, I'm having another kid, or you just want to like refocus and say, hey, I haven't been as intentional as I'd like to be. I really want to figure out how I can show up more for my kids and follow through on the things that I want to do for them. Get a coach, because that's just like an automatic accountability partner built in, to say, whatever I'm wanting to accomplish, there's someone that's going to push me. Think of all the coaches you've had in your life in sports and music or whatever. A good coach is someone that is going to make you feel uncomfortable, but also be there with you through that process, so that you're learning and understanding and growing along the way. And that's what we do. So if you're interested, the link's in the description. There you go. Bit of a shorter episode. But again, I like the feel of it. Maybe something that we'll try out and rotate. Comments and feedback would be spectacular, to know if this is something that resonates, and something that maybe you want to see more of, advice to talk through, or um, yeah, don't hesitate to reach out. Or if you have questions or you need advice, you can always comment, or you can reach us, email, dadsignalpod@gmail.com. Um, yeah, good stuff. Really good stuff. Feel good about that. I feel like we have vented out our frustrations. We know that we're not alone in these struggles. And so just keep showing up, keep being present, lean on those around you, and we'll see you next week.